Hi everyone and welcome to Club 2 episode 13 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, we are back in with Ballin and Mallard in the second tier of Northern Irish football, getting towards the end of the first part of our season before it breaks into two later competitions. So we'll check that out in the next episode or two. But for today, it's all about revenge. Twice this season, once in the league and once in the cup, Dundela have beaten us and beaten us quite comprehensively. Since then, though, we've gone on a brilliant run of form, find ourselves top of the table, and now it's time for some revenge. Can we get it? Let's find out. Welcome back. So yes, it is all about revenge today. If we go straight into the schedule and look at where we've been this season, for one, you can see our run of form has been fantastic in the league. Unfortunately, in the very last game that I played off camera, we lost in the fourth round of the Northern Irish Cup to Distillery, who are in a league below us. I rotated the side a bit, tried to get away with it, didn't quite work out for us. We've gone out in the cup, but to be honest, I'm not actually that worried about it because with the league form being what it is, it's about time that we tried to put some pressure on the rest of these sides and try and get into those playoff spots, if not even the automatic promotion. So the league is the focus. But if we head back up the schedule a little bit to days gone by, you'll see that about 4 games into the season, we did lose against Dundela in the Bet McLaren Cup second round, 3-2. And then a few weeks later, we lost to them 2-1 in the league as well, away from home. Today is our home match against them. But that Dundela loss in the league is the last one we've had. And since then, we've had 8 or 9 matches, and we haven't lost since in the league. Couple of draws in there, but everything else is a win. And we're looking pretty good doing it most of the time. I'm hoping that this loss against Distillery won't stay in the system for too long, that we can get rid of that. And the best way of doing that is getting some revenge on Dundela, as I say. But it's going to be a tricky one, but we'll find out whether we can do it or not. If we go to the competition page itself and have a look at where the tournament currently sits, after 17 matches, we've still got another 5 to play. And you'll see that we are sitting top of the table by 4 points at the moment to Ballyclare, which is really fantastic. An amazing achievement to get that close to being in this sort of automatic promotion spot at this point of the season. Bearing in mind that after we finish the 22 games, there's another 10 to play because the top 6 then play each other to decide who's champion and the bottom 6 play each other to decide who gets relegated, etc. So there's still more to play after this point. But it's going really very well. But for today, Dundela, they're sitting down in 5th. It's the sort of side that we could slip up quite easily on. But it's also the sort of side that if we're going to win the title, and I'm not saying we are, I still definitely, desperately want one of those playoffs at the least. But if we're going to win the title, these are the sorts of matches we kind of have to win. So let's see if we can. Into the tactics page we go. So, of course, we haven't changed anything in terms of style of play, etc. There's been one change in personnel. Anybody that's really eagle-eyed, I'll give you a couple of seconds. Which name is missing from my squad list? There is one name that is not there that has been there through this season. It's a bit of a tricky one to get, to be honest. But our loanee, Zach Moore, who was a central midfield player, basically played in the holding role instead of McKee whenever McKee was out. Played about 7 times for us. His deal for his loan came up at this point in December, and he was not happy with the terms of it, apparently, even though I can't see that we were doing anything wrong because he was only going to be like a squad player and had played 7 matches for us. So, but he wasn't happy for whatever reason, so he went back to his parent club, Newry, who were in the division above us. And so that leaves a little bit of a gap in the squad. Although, I mean, we do have other players that can play the role, so we're not too bad. So I'm not directly going to replace him at the moment. I feel like a slightly smaller squad might not be a bad idea. So, yeah, Zach Moore came and did a little bit of a job for us and is now left, and so we have to move on from that. Other than that, everybody else is here and everybody else is looking pretty good. We've got a few issues with contracts expiring soon that we're going to have to sort out in the January transfer window because a couple of them aren't worth keeping on, but that will leave some gaps in the squad. So some work to do in January coming up, but before then, it's all about that game against Dundela and trying to get some revenge on them. So the first team are all in place and ready and raring to go. We've had a little bit of an issue just recently. I'm going to switch these two round, actually, and then we're going to drop Banda just slightly back into the attacking pressing forward role. We've had a little bit of an issue with the goal scorers quite recently. You can see that Kelly has dropped off of his 7 average rating, so has Shearer quite significantly, and McGlynn never got there. He's on a 6.7 and has really struggled a little bit this season. Banda is the only one that's been getting goals from a couple of different sort of player roles that I've played him up the top. But yeah, so we just need a little bit more than that from them. We are still struggling in the sense that we've only got a +6 goal difference compared to like +15 or 19 or whatever it is for the couple of teams around us at the top of the league. Defensively, we're doing very, very well overall. Offensively, just need a little bit of an upturn in form, just a smidge. But we'll see what happens today. It's going to be a tricky match, but we are at home. And for today's game against Dundela, important for me, as you know, Hogg in goal, Smith at right back, Curry at left back, Black and McCann in central defence, Grayson McKee in central midfield, Crook on the right, Burns on the left, Kelly and Banda up top, and a bench of Armstrong, Parker, Brennan, McLaughlin and Shearer. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So there's no real surprise as to what sort of team talk I gave, really. Pump the fist. We owe Dundela from what happened in the last match. Go out there and get revenge. It's the way we're looking at this particular episode. I need to beat them for my own sanity today, to be honest. I felt a little bit hard done by them earlier in the competition and in the cup as well. I think we played okay in bits, but the odd goal win in both games gave them the edge. And it's time that we got one back on them. And the form, as I say, in the league has been pretty spectacular since that loss to them in the league a couple of months ago now. So can we ride that wave and properly have a go at them in this particular match? We'll see. It's going to be tricky. That game against Dundela, although some of these first team players weren't playing in the match, it still has an impact on the squad in general. Look at the pace they've got down the right hand side in theory. I bet if we go and look at him, he's got a pace of like 6 or something and isn't particularly spectacular. But boy, the afterburners were on there. The acceleration of him was pretty spectacular down the right-hand side. Something that we'll have to watch out for. And they have worked it nicely, continue to do so. Then the cross comes in. We get it partially cleared, but they're going to pick up the loose ball and recycle possession, this time on the left-hand side. They've worked it quite nicely to get some space, and that's a really very, very nice goal. You've got to give them credit for it. Once that ball came out of our box and they worked it down the left-hand side, they worked it very nicely. Some good one-touch football. Some nice passing and moving and off we go. And it was just really very good stuff. There's the one-touch pass into the box, into the 6-yard box, and they responded and we didn't. The defenders were too static and watching it, and again we go 1-0 down against them. We have a chance at the back post, but it was a poor header back across, really. It should have been back across goal, trying to get onto somebody else's head rather than at goal, and because it was at goal from such a bad angle, he got it all wrong, went over the top of the bar. At least I guess we had a chance, but yeah, that makes me a little bit nervy, really, at this point, that we're not going to get what I'm looking for if we continue to play that way. Dundela have obviously got their tails up a little bit. 4 shots a goal, 3 on target for them, 3 and 1 for us. Their possession stats are through the roof comparative to what we normally come across. Maybe this is just the bogey side for this particular team. Maybe Dundela have just got our number for whatever reason. And they've taken a 1-0 lead through to half-time for about the last, what was it, half an hour of that particular first half. There wasn't a lot to watch, to be honest. But we're going to have to go and dig out the team now because I can't be having this sort of performance on a day like this. So we're going to thrash the arms. We've been terrible so far. We're going to go into the second half, straight in and fire them up. And we're also going to go into balanced rather than attacking and trying to go at them. We're going to withdraw just slightly and see if we can get hold of the ball just a little bit more, because it's what we were lacking in the first half. They had over a 60% possession of the football in the first half. So we need to redress that if we can. We're already in a fairly short passing setup most of the time, etc. So that's not needing to change at the moment. Again, they're working themselves down the right-hand side. Again, we're just a little bit lazy about coming out and closing down some spaces, just a smidge. The ball goes over the top. We win that, and Crook wins it. And this is a chance for him to open up the afterburners down the right-hand side. He cuts in a little bit. Banda has to get involved to help him out. That's a brilliant ball through to Kelly, and he puts it in the back of the net from the top of the penalty box. A really, really lovely shot from Kelly. Crook got into a little bit of difficulty here, got crowded out, palms it off to Banda, who left-footed pokes it through to Kelly, out from his feet, gets it out on his right foot, and then sweeps the ball round the goalkeeper into that far corner of the goal. And we do go back to a 1-1 with about half an hour still to play. But it's Dundela with the next highlight, working it down the left-hand side. This time we do have some defenders out there doing their jobs, but it's got through to the box, and they've worked another opportunity and then messed it up, really. But I thought they'd messed it up. We've messed it up. There was a nudge in the box. Anybody that's been with me on stream, brilliant save, by the way. It's all going on here. Fantastic save. Anybody that's been with me on stream, though, will know that that has happened several times since the new update. A couple of penalties are being given quite regularly for those little nudges in the box since the new update, I found. I had about 2 in yesterday's stream, I seem to remember. So, yeah, that's something that we need to be a bit aware of, but I'm a little bit fed up with my own players just causing ourselves problems, really, when really we should be causing the opposition problems by scoring more goals. But you can see that the course of the game still has the same sort of feel. They've got more possession than we've had. They've had double our shots at goal, basically. Their XG rating is a lot higher than ours, but we have got into the game just enough to get to that 1-1 point at the moment. So we've paused the game at 69 minutes on the clock, so we've got 20 minutes, just a little bit, excuse me, left to go. And we'll see what changes we can make. So we've got a yellow card for McKee on a yellow card and a really poor rating of 6.4. We've got a 6.2 for Curry at the back, which is unacceptable as well. So Curry comes out, Parker goes in, McKee comes out, Brennan goes in. And then we can make one attacking change, and it's either going to be Crook on the right at a 6.6 or Banda up top on a 6.7. And I feel like we're going to take Banda off because we've got a better natural replacement for him in Patrick Shearer coming in. So that's why we're going to make that change rather than the Crook one. Crook's a little bit lucky to stay on, but there were some very poor performances in this group of players. Do I need to change anything about the style of play? I think I probably do. We'll keep the formation going, but let's see if we can just up the tempo just a little bit. So we're going to up the tempo. We're going to up the directness a little bit. We're going to hit early crosses, and we are going to run at the defence and see whether we can commit them. Because we're going to do that. We're going to go into the counter-attacking style. We'll put a little bit of a press on as well, just to see if we can pin them back. So out of possession, we want to raise the press regularity just a little bit, not quite that far. And we're going to bring the team up, higher up the pitch as well, just to see if we can potentially get involved in the play higher up and give ourselves less to do. Those are the changes we're going to make. We'll go back out. Press play on the game again, and we've got around 20 minutes, so I'm thinking we might need to up the mentality just a little bit. We'll play in balance for a few minutes, but then if it doesn't quite give us a couple of chances, then we might up the mentality to attacking maybe. We've got the ball at the back. We're going to play it around at the back a little bit. There's the ball through. Crook puts the afterburners on, and then he misses the shot. He gets it past the goalkeeper, but puts it into the side netting rather than the goal itself. But that's encouraging that we broke the lines a little bit. A deep cross in. Crook again is the person. He's having a poor game and everything's going through him, which is really disappointing. I could potentially go and turn it so we're playing down the left-hand side rather than the right. I think we might do that. It's the thing that I've noticed, that he's not having the best of days today and everything is going through him. So if we go into in transition, let's distribute to the flanks, but in possession, we're going to make it so we focus down the left-hand side, not the right. So that's going to be the plan. Let's hope that we can get Burns on the ball. and he can feed a pass through to one of our strikers. So we are just going to move it up from balance to positive because we've only got about 9 minutes plus injury time to go. So got some work to do here. Smith on the right-hand side, of course. It's always going to be that whenever you change it to put it across this side. They still work to the right. And it's Crook that gets the goal. That's fantastic. Having changed my setup and dug him out a little bit. Oh, they're offside. There's a couple of players offside. Crook, I don't think was. Are they going to be lucky? They're not going to be lucky. The goal was disallowed. That was a shame. But he almost made me eat my words on him today. But there we go. Not quite. We've got maybe an opportunity here for Dundela. Off a long goal kick, they've worked it down the right-hand side. They've got a little bit of space to work in. We're trying to close the team down a bit. But again, we do it too severely. And what's the decision going to be here? It's another penalty. Just inside the box, apparently. We never saw a replay after it was given. And this time they do put it away. And this time they're going to do us again. We've got 2 minutes of injury time, of normal time to play, plus a little bit of injury time. They get another goal against us. They take a 2-1 lead with minutes to spare. So we're going to pause the game. I'm going to have to go full bore on this one. Let's see what we can do. We're going to move Kelly more centrally. We're going to play Crook up top because why not? We're going to play Burns just in behind. And we're going to go route one, but a very attacking version of it. So literally very attacking. So we're going to go in here, whip early crosses in, set pieces, be more disciplined, extremely high on the tempo, extremely high on the direct passing, going to take away the time wasting. We're going to keep it narrow. In terms of the transition, we're going to counter press on that as well. Why not? I mean, we've got to do it all really. Distribute quickly so we get the game moving again, and out of possession we're going to raise this right up and play as high as we can. Actually, we're going to drop this one, the defensive line, just one back. Use tight marking, get stuck in, slightly more press. Let's go more often on the press. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it's all hands to the pump now, really. There's not much else we can do. We've just got to put this out there and hope that it drops for us in the box somehow and we get one chance, but we're not going to. We're not going to. Anytime you make changes within those sort of last few minutes, the time flies past. And unfortunately, we've absolutely done ourselves in, which absolutely, as a manager of a football team, a proper real-life football team, must drive you to distraction, that you build up to a game all week, you get some training into them, you get some positivity into them, and you put them on the pitch. They gave away 2 penalties. Fortunately, one of them was kept out by the goalkeeper, but the second one wasn't. And once you do that, and once we miss a gilt-edged opportunity that Crook did as well because of some offside decision, you're really up against it. Our best performer was our goalkeeper. That tells you something about the game as well. Dundela deserved their win in a lot of ways. They got a 2.6 XG rating, the expected goals for the game. That's very high, really. And we failed to deliver just at the wrong moment, really, unfortunately, when it really mattered to me, at least. But that's just me putting that added pressure onto the game that probably wasn't there in the first place. But what's that going to do to our league position as well? It will drop us back in terms of points potentially that we've got over the opposition. It shouldn't drop us out because we were 4 points clear at the top of the table. But let's see what the other teams have done around us as we go down to another Dundela loss. So not all the teams below us have actually managed to do anything about the fact that we dropped some points there. Ballyclare have dropped down a position. Ards have taken over into second place. So we still have a 2-point gap over our nearest rivals, which after a performance like that is the best silver lining I could come up with, really. It was really disappointing. It's such a frustration to me that at any level, if you put a team out and players just go and make silly errors, it's really difficult. You've got to get their concentration levels up, I guess, and their decision-making processes. There's reasons why all of these players are making the choices that they are, and some of them are bad, because they're not all very good players. Still very frustrating, though, when you're on such a good run. and I was desperate to try and beat them. Anyway, we've still got a couple of opportunities to beat them, remember, in the second half of this season, if we both finish in this top 6 of the league. Because if we both finish in the top 6, there's another 10 games to play against the rest of those top 6 to see who's champion this season. So potentially a couple more chances. Let's see. Maybe we'll get redemption late in the season to potentially win us the title. Who knows? Against them. Who knows? We'll see what that story does as it unfolds. But for today, another very, very disappointing performance and a very, very, very disappointing result against Dundela. Really disappointing. Quite upset about that one. But there we go. That's the life of a football manager. We have 4 games left of this particular section of our league campaign. They are against H&W Welders, Ards, Arnar and Ballyclare. And 3 of those 4 are basically in the top 4 with us in the league. The likes of Ards, Arnar, Armagh, sorry, not Armagh. I'll get it right in a minute. Armagh and Ballyclare. Those 3 are in the top 3 or 4 with us in the league. So they're going to be tricky in that run-in. And now we've got those 2 losses back-to-back. We need to beat the Welders and get back into winning mentality just before those 3 big matches and see if we can finish this section of the league strongly. You're going to have to come back next episode for the Ballyclare match, the last of this particular section. We'll see where we finish in this first half of the season. I'm really hopeful that we can stay in the top spot, but to do it, we're going to have to play some tricky teams, as we say, and get some positive results against them where we didn't quite manage it today. If we go and look at the league, there you go, Ards, Ballyclare and Armagh sitting in that top 4 of the league with us. And we've played Dundela recently as well. It's a really tricky run-in, isn't it? As hard as you can get. Anyway, we're going to go through this. We're going to get to the other end of this particular section of our league and see if we're still sitting top. But the worst case scenario just at the moment is we're looking really, really good for at least one of these playoff spots, which is what the aim of the season was as we started out. So fantastic so far. Today, not so much, really. But there we go. That's just the way football is. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you very much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Hope your FM22 experience is going great and really enjoying whatever save you've got in there. Let me know what you're up to in the comments below if you haven't done for a little while. Update me on what's going on in your saves. Always interested to hear. But that's going to do it for today. So thank you for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by more people. Go check out the links in the description below to my Twitter, my Discord, my Patreon, all sorts of other bits and pieces down there. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.